Hey, what's going on guys? Sinister Skater here and welcome to the second Black Ops 3 Armory analysis where I go in and analyze some things that you guys are interested in and give you some data in the Armory of Black Ops 3. On the last Armory analysis, we covered the specialist charge rates and how the overclock perk affects those specialist charge rates, and one of you guys asked if I could cover Sixth Sense real quick and how effective that perk is. So, for this Armory analysis, we're going to be giving a quick rundown on the Sixth Sense perk and its overall range and total effectiveness overall. So what Sixth Sense does is it splits the minimap in 4 sections and highlights a section in red with a beep to indicate that an enemy is near, depending on which side the enemy is coming from. The question really is, how far does the enemy have to be in order for the Sixth Sense perk to proc? And here's your answer. This is the range at which Sixth Sense triggers. Anywhere within this radius of your player is when your minimap will stay highlighted and notify you when someone's near. Or on the C side of Stronghold in the spawn, so you can put things into perspective on how large that is. Honestly, the Sixth Sense perk does not have that big of a range, especially if you're in like an open area or a big building or something like that. If someone's creeping up behind you, you don't really have that much time once the Sixth Sense perk triggers to do something about it. I could see this being useful in, say, something like a multi-story building. Something that comes to mind is the building in Evac or Nuketown, for instance. You'll get a notification when an enemy's near, and if you're on the upper floor of a building, if they're on the lower floor, you'll know ahead of time that they're lower, because you know if you get a notification that the enemy's in front of you to the left, obviously they're not going to be up there, so they're going to be on the bottom floor. It could be useful in situations like that, or on a close quarters map that has a lot of obstacles or, kind of narrow halls, or close quarters engagements just in general. Now, I do have one number for you, and that is the time you have to react once the radar goes off. I set up a little situation here. I turned around, had a guy sprint at me full on from the back and try to punch me to death. And as soon as the Sixth Sense perk triggered, I tried to turn around and try to kill the guy that was rushing me, to be a little realistic. And in this test, you barely have 1 second to turn around and make a play once the Sixth Sense perk activates if someone's sprinting right at you. If the guy was charging straight from behind or from the side with like a knife, for instance, a combat knife, you're probably going to die because that's not that much time to react. So again, this perk is really only useful in like multi-story buildings or a complex hall with close quarters engagements or something along those sorts. If you're running around in the open, like I said, like in this situation and the thing triggers, you're pretty much dead meat, especially if someone has a weapon. Like, let's be realistic here, you're probably going to die. So lastly, I also tested this with Hardwired, which counters the Sixth Sense perk. Hardwired does a lot of things, but it also reduces the range of Sixth Sense. So before, it reduced just range overall. It still had a little bit range to it, but recently the Hardwired perk got a little buff to it. Now, it ultimately cancels the Sixth Sense perk. If someone's using Hardwired, the Sixth Sense only triggers when the enemy is pretty much touching you, so you are pretty much dead if that happens, unless they're trying to like troll you and teabag you from the back. This also only triggers if the enemy is on the sides or the back of you. It doesn't trigger if you're in the front. Like, as you can see in this video, guys touching me, running around me in circles, the thing barely triggers. So you got to keep that in mind if you're deciding if you want to use Sixth Sense, because a lot of people do run Hardwired. So overall, Sixth Sense is a very situational perk. It's well fit for a particular playstyle, and it really depends on what map you're playing on. So let me know if you guys think this perk is useful or not, if it's worth taking up a point in your pick 10 system. If you guys missed the last Armory analysis, where we looked at overclock and the specialist rates, I'll link that down below in the description so you can go check that out. And the next Armory analysis will most likely be looking at lethal grenades and tactical grenades, discussing what they do, their blast radiuses, effects, how long they last, everything like that. So with that, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's quick Armory analysis. As always, I'm Sinister Skater. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.